What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tom Gronkowski Show 2.0, brought to you by the Fans Only Sports Network. My name is Ruth the Truth. It is good to be back with y'all. I'm sorry that Coach Jay and I have been kind of MIA for a little bit. Going through school right now. Finals are this week. After this week, I will have all the time in the world to continue pushing out content because guess what? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in training camp. It's official. They got their rings last week. They got the bling on their hands. They're Super Bowl champs, but it's time to get down. It's time to get busy because the season is just underway. We are probably less than 55 days. I don't know the exact count, but we are just around the corner from preseason. And the Tampa Bay Bucs are going to have a chance to go for two, like Bruce Arians loves to say. So without further ado, we're going to bring you a great show talking about training camp. What are some expectations for some players? Some movement that has been going on in the roster for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And of course, discuss Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski's journey from the Beantown to the Bay here in Tampa. I got to bring in my co-host because I haven't got to chat with this guy with some sports in a while, so it's way overdue. Lo and behold, we have our coach Jay Morgan joining us.
Here we go.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You?
We back.
We back.
And let me tell you, we have a lot cooking for our audience. So if you guys could please share our content, hit that share button down below, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, wherever you're at, we appreciate you being here. And if you could just help us out, hit that share button, give us a follow on Twitter. On our Twitter accounts are listed down below. We will give you a follow back, but you're going to want to stay tuned because we have a lot cooking.
That's right.
This is my movement lately. This has been my stirring the pot, adding the ingredients, stirring the pot, adding a little bit more content, always bringing the fire. Coach Jay, how have you been? I know you've been making a lot of boss moves, but yeah, fill us in. What have you been up to?
Oh, man.
I
got a career now. I got a real career.
We got to do some adulting.
As a phlebotomist now, we're at BioLife Plasma Services.
Wow, that sounds extremely fancy. So, is this going to be like your new chapter that you're going to be rocking with for a little while?
So here's the plan. Here's the plan.
What's the plan? Tell me.
I'm not gonna rock with this for a little bit. I'm gonna ride this out until the wheels fall off because this, like I said, this is a career. At the same time, though, see, when you start a new career, then you're a rookie. So you got to work nights and weekends. But they already know on Wednesday night, hey, I got to be gone because I got to do the podcast. So they know that.
And you know what? We can work around the schedule. If things have to change and we have to do a pre-recording and we drop it on Wednesday nights, we can still do that. We will make it happen. But I know our audience love us coming live because they be in the comments giving us some shout outs, some great, things to debate. So we appreciate that.
But check this out. So like I've been telling kids, because it's a lot of kids that ask me, Coach Jay, so you're not gonna coach no more? Coach Jay, what you doing? I was like, no, hold up, fellas. This is the plan. So when I start working days and then I got some more pull around there and I'm actually in charge or something, because you can get promoted at this job. It's a real career. So after I get those promotions, which they say it doesn't take long, then when I start working just the morning shift. When I work the morning shift, I could show up at anybody's school after I get off and still be coaching.
Right.
This time I ain't got to be in the school working. I go work my career, come and work my other career.
Because it ain't about the money with Coach Jay. It is not. It's about winning games.
It's about winning for me. It's about winning for me. Now, with my other career that I have right now, it's about the money because that's what's going to back up everything else. So I'm still in. So everybody out there, so you can know I'm still in the game. I ain't going nowhere. I'm just in the shadows real quick, handling some business. And then I'm going to come up out of nowhere with a ring on my finger. So just be ready when I say, let's go.
We can appreciate here at the Tom Gronkowski Show that you have your priorities straight. Now, we're going to be discussing a lot of Bucs today, and hopefully we'll be able to get Evan Winter on from Bucs Report onto the show. I have not heard from him yet in the last hour, so he has the link, so he might be shooting in soon because he's been up front and center in training camp.
Yeah, now, every morning.
I want to play this video because this is the most recent video that the Bucs have put out with actual footage of training camp from earlier this week. Stay tuned. that's got to get you hyped. Just
That's
watching that. Tell me your
fun.
emotions once you see that video.
It makes me. I get those goosebumps every time. Every time I see it, it just lets me know that football season is closer and closer, and Sundays is gonna be ooh-wee.
Yeah, I need my Sunday. I need my football Sundays back. You know, like
right?
that's a whole religion to me. Like I go to church, put my time in with God in the morning, and then I go home, put on the sweatpants.
That's right.
And the oversized T-shirt.
That's right.
With my 3 television screens.
That's
I line them all up in the living room, and I'll put all the 1 o'clock games that I have available, whether it be off of Hulu, YouTube Live, whatever they got going on. Like I have a couple little streaming services that I use to try to pull up as many games that I could stay tuned in all in at once. And I mean, every football fan is tuned in on Sunday, of course, because we have the world. And their fantasy league, you know, is going crazy right now. It's all about fantasy football. So everyone's, you know, tuned into their favorite team and then some teams that might be affecting their fantasy league. Do you have any plans on playing any fantasy football coming in this season?
The only thing I'm going to play is I'm going to play in my Yahoo Sports thing that I play with the guys that I play flag football with back in Indianapolis, Indiana, because we do it every year and I just want to win. So I just want to, they allow me to pick my games that I think who gonna win, and then if it's a tiebreaker, we got 3 tiebreakers. You can choose the points of the game, or you can choose who's gonna win the Monday night game as well, and have their points as well. So I'm with it. I'm with it. I just can't do fantasy when I got to put all my chips into one player. I don't.
I mean, there's been a lot of. I've made a lot of mistakes in the only 2 seasons that I've played fantasy where I get all excited that I pick up for example, I had Dak on my roster last season. And of course, first 4 games, throwing for over 200 plus yards, throwing for, scoring 49 points against the Falcons. Like the guy was impressive.
Falcons are trash.
It was a high-scoring game, which is what really matters when it comes to fantasy. You want to see a lot of points on the board because that's how you're winning in your fantasy league. So, I mean, you can't help when there's injuries. So, speaking of Dak, really quick, I just want to touch base on today's news about him leaving practice early due to a shoulder strain from his throwing arm, which is never good news. Never good news when it comes to the throwing arm. But MRIs, he got an MRI done, so the doctors are kind of on the same page of what's wrong with him or what procedures need to be taken for him to get back before the season starts. But do you think that maybe this is what I'm thinking? He was injured, he was out for 86 weeks or whatever the number is, and he's getting back into the motion, and he has a lot of wide receivers that are eager and hungry to get that ball thrown to them. So maybe he was just been kind of overstraining himself so quick after coming back from, he's got big shoes to fill. He's got a big paycheck coming his way. He's top paid in the league. He's got to put in the work, but maybe he's been overdoing it. Do you think this is something that Dallas fans should be hitting the panic button?
No, because we still have Zeke in the backfield. And I keep telling people, if he stopped throwing 50-something passes, you can make any quarterback last if you don't make them have to throw 50 or so many passes. Turn around, hand the ball off, and then we work from the run. We keep handing around, boom, 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 right here, draw, dive, count. Do stuff like that. Now you don't have to throw that many passes because they're syncing up on the run. Now you can do play action and throw over the top now. I keep trying to tell people that. They keep trying to come out and just air it out. I know a high school team. What is that team? It's the Lions or something like that. I think it's called Lake Nona. That's all they do is pass. Like the coach tells you. He tells you before he play you, I'm throwing the ball every play. And he not lying. He not lying. Come out first down, throw. Second down, throw. Third down, throw. The man not lying. Here's the thing that people understand. Yes, the passes, they look great and all that, and we love it. It looks like it's raining down upon us. Yes, that's great. At the same time, there is a ratio that people need to understand. When you throw the ball those many times, you have you have a 1 out of 4 chances of actually completing it without having an interception. So hear what I said. Out of 4 passes, one of those is going to get picked off.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to think about this. What is the other team going to do when it actually does get picked off? So Dak, rest the arm up. Stop trying to show out. Just save some in the tank. Hand that ball off to Zeke. Whoever the offensive coordinator, McCarthy, need to stop. This ain't Aaron Rodgers. Stop doing that. And you don't have the guys to actually back that defense to back him up like that.
Yeah.
Let them. Y'all need to be game controllers. Do what they did when they had Aikman, Emmett, and Michael. When they had them 3.
Michael Irvin.
He gonna get his touches. Irvin got his touches. But what did they do? They controlled it with Emmett. Let Emmett get his touches. Boom, boom, boom. Then it opens up for the rest of y'all to be able to grab those passes, Amari Cooper, so you can be able to do your thing. I mean, even when Dez Bryant was back with the Cowboys, he wasn't doing jack when they didn't have Zeke.
I think Dez Bryant is probably the closest comparison to an entity like Michael Irvin, to be honest, if I'm talking. So Dez is still kind of lingering in free agency. Who knows if, he was on the Baltimore Ravens practice squad and then he got moved to the active roster last season, but didn't really get any playing time, had a little issue with COVID last season. So the future of Dez Bryant is very uncertain. But, man, him and his wide receiver, the way that he was able just to, put yards in between him and the defenders is something that we've been lacking on the Dallas Cowboys on their offensive line.
Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
And I already know, I'm gonna tell everybody the truth. Dak is going to play. For the simple fact is, Jerry Jones.
Week 1, Dak is playing.
He's playing. He's gonna play. He's gonna have to be dead in order not to play, because that's what Jerry Jones gonna tell him. He's gonna tell him like Ike Turner told Animate, if you die, I kill you. Because he is. I just gave you all this money. Jerry Jones does not be playing around. Remember Tony Romo, everybody? Mm-hmm. He went in. He got hit, messed up his back against the Redskins. What happened? He came right back out. Who came down from the press box and walked back there? And then all of a sudden you see Romo coming back out. And who was right there next to him? Jerry Jones. Because Jerry Jones went in that locker room and said, hey, I gave you all this money, boy. Get up. Get up. Give him the shot and get back out there.
Yeah.
Same thing with Dak. People don't know what be going on behind the NFL doors. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to learn you. There you take a shot. That's what happens. You take a shot, but it ain't no secret. I mean, that's why we do our little commercial that we have for the NFL now with with what is it?
What Odyssey, the Odyssey group, yes. And the new medicine that they're coming out with for concussions. Yeah, because
they want to be able to handle the business right then and there instead of having to have you go to the hospital and all that. No, we just handle it right there on the sideline. So, ladies and gentlemen, hear what I say. Mark my words. Dak Prescott, don't worry, Cowboy fans. Dak Prescott will be playing week 1.
Right. Shaking off the rust. I believe in that their medical staff for the Dallas Cowboys, that they're going to do what is necessary to get Dak back into full swing, because we need him.
Like Tyrod.
We saw what happened when Dak went down. I mean, obviously they were 1-3. Like, everyone continues to remind me that they were 1-3 when Dak went down. But I think that the season was on its way with a turnaround. I mean, if we didn't have such a crappy defense, but that's a whole new conversation.
It was. I mean, I don't mess with the Cowboys, but I give credit where credit is due at. The Cowboys really are a dangerous team. You got to look at it. For one, they're in the NFC East. They're in the NFC East. The NFC East, just like I just said, is the least. There's nobody in there. So it's really a toss-up. The Cowboys is really the only established team that is actually in that conference. So there should be no reason why they shouldn't be number 1 in that. Mm-hmm. All you have to do, I'll tell you the mathematical formula of it. All you got to do is win your games and make sure you win the division games. That's it. When you play against those other 3 people that are in your division, you make sure you come out with the W. I don't care if you win by half a point. Make sure you win by a W, because even if it comes down to a tiebreaker or you playing against other teams, you have the advantage because you have beaten all of them, especially if you beat them twice. If you beat them twice, you own them. It doesn't matter. The only way they're going to be able to get ahead of you is they're going to have a way better record than you. But if they got a record around yours or anything, they lost because you have the advantage. So like I tell teams now, you make sure you take care of business at the beginning of the season. So that way, toward the end of the season, you don't have to be crossing your fingers over there worrying and praying to talk about, am I going to be in the playoffs? You should be going to sleep at night with a smile on your face like, I know I'm in the playoffs. Let's just get ready for this first game. That's all
we need the Dallas Cowboys needs a whole new culture revamp in that locker room. And I know that Hard Knocks is going to be following them throughout the season, and they're the team that to be watching. And I'm hoping that doesn't backfire for that organization because we've seen it in the past, you know, that the TV time does not always end up well. But we're going to take a quick break. Thanks for watching it, the Tom Gronkowski Show 2.0. Well, Coach Jay and I, we will be right back.
Pharmaceutical company Prevacus says their new concussion medication Prevacol helps repair nerves and promote cell growth.
We can get the drug in the brain in less than 5 minutes. And our plan is when we get that diagnosis on the field of play, give the drug nasally, get it in the brain quickly. When it gets in the brain, it actually gets into the nucleus of your brain cells, and it reduces swelling, inflammation, and oxidative stress at the same time.
When Jake and I first talked about this many years ago, one of my first questions was, will this help me? And he goes, no, this is for treatment immediately when a concussion or you think a concussion has occurred.
The acute problems that exist later on in life, if we can take care of these at an early age and start getting some of these things to our children and grandchildren, you know, and I think we can make this game, our game, football, a safer place.
And so the whole goal is we're trying to make the game safer. And so Odyssey and this drug, we believe, can be a game changer in so many different ways. Yes, on the football field, in the game of football, because that's where my passion lies, but also in the game of life.
Shout out to Odyssey Group and what they are trying to, this medication that they're trying to come out with to help these players for generations to come when it comes to concussions and things like that, because we've seen that plague the NFL season in and season out. So shout out to them. So Coach Jay, we should be having Evan Winter here in just a moment to talk some training camp, and then we were going to close out the show because Ruth has to get back into finals because this is my very last week. Graduation is just around the corner. So close, I could taste it. So your girl got to get back into that. But I wanted to play this video that has gone viral, that has been the talk of the town with Tom Brady. Check this out. That's right.
Tom can do it all. Let's go.
Is there anything this guy can't do? Okay, so I will admit, when I first saw this video, I thought it was real. I thought it was legit. I thought, why not? He's been playing football for more than half of his life. Maybe he can pull that off. I mean, I didn't really think that's something realistic just because I've been around one of those throwing machines before, and the accuracy and the strength that you have to throw the ball in the opposite directions when they're going this way, like
Tom got it.
No. So I did a little bit of research. About it, and definitely was a made up video. It was not real. But Coach, what was your initial reaction seeing Tom Brady's video that in 8 hours had 10 million views?
First, when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, okay, there you go, back at you." Oh, boom, he hit it down. Then I was like, when he walked away, EA Sports, it's in the game. Then I thought about Kirk Cousins. He should have turned around and said, "You like that? You like that? Gotta like that. Gotta like that." I thought it was
I mean, I thought it was legit when I started seeing, people talking about it, and I read on the Tampa Tampa Times newspaper that it was a made video, and the person that made the video came out and was like, hey, this was edited. It was an amazing time to be able to record and that kind of content for Tom Brady himself. So, but still very impressive. Very impressive.
I'm going with it. For
yeah,
somebody that don't know, if I'm around somebody and they don't know better, I'm saying it. I'm be like, hey, that's real. What you mean? Tom can do that. That's Tom.
Real like Tom Brady's speech. Did you get a chance to watch the ring ceremony with his speech?
Yes, I love
phenomenal. Most humble guy ever. Was able to name half the roster and gave credit where credit is due, and we really appreciate that. Well, we're going to bring on a guest that has been front row to training camp. So he's going to have some great insight of what has been going on with the Tampa Bay Bucs as they as they're underway with training camp. We have Evan Winter joining us from Bucs Report.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Evan, we appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Yourself.
Yeah, I know that you're not home, so you're not in your normal setting, but we do appreciate the time that you take to come on the Tom Gronkowski Show. Can you let our audience know where they can find you and what have you been up to and what you're looking to get into this football season?
So sure, yeah. Find me on Twitter at Evan_Winter. Find me on Bucs Report. That's where my written work is. And then I also do the Believe in Bucs podcast on Believe.com. But in terms of just what I've seen so far and, what expecting as camp rolls on from here, it's been a hell of a competition so far. I mean, Bruce Arians even spoke about it today, how, obviously we know that the starters pretty much are all figured out except for the running back and the kick returner position on this team. However, pretty much all the depth spots from backup quarterback, backup running back, your receivers, they're all kind of up in the air for the most part. It's been a hell of a competition at tight end. It's been a hell of a competition at kick returner. And then it's also in terms of the safety spot with Ross Cockrell coming in and playing safety for the Bucs right now. That's changing things in terms of what's going on in the secondary. It's been a lot of fun. It's fun. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here. And in terms of just what I'm expecting as training camp progresses, I want to see Kyle Trask step up. I want to see him start to earn more reps. I want to see him start to become that guy that the Bucs have made him out to be. Now, granted, we all kind of knew he was going to be a project coming in. We all knew that the development was going to be a little bit, slower than most, especially since Tom Brady is your quarterback. And Blaine Gabbert's probably going to even be here next year as well. But I still want to see him earn those reps and step up, and especially from a lot of the hate that he gets from the outside.
Yeah, well, shout out to Sade, who's in the comments. We appreciate you being here, girl. Go ahead and hit that share button, and thank you for giving me the compliment on the baby hair. Evan Winter, I appreciate the insight, and I want to kind of go into a little more depth about that tight end position. Now, we have O.J. Howard, who was returning, I believe, off of that Achilles injury. Are we expecting him to be playing week 1?
Yeah, I would expect him to play week 1. Bruce Arians said all offseason, he's really close. He's really close. It's kind of what he kept saying. And he was out there yesterday on Tuesday. Yeah, make sure I get my day straight. But he was out there on Tuesday with his helmet, actually, but he still had that baseball cap on. So I would think he plays week 1. I think that's a pretty safe bet. But when he starts playing during training camp or when he actually comes in during the preseason, that's kind of anybody's guess right now.
Go ahead, Coach Jay.
I just want you to tell me, how is the defense doing? Because
dude, the defense has been sick. The defense has been flying around. And yesterday, especially so today's practice, so with how the Bucs are doing credentials and all that stuff, there are 2 different tiers. There's 2M and then there's 3OA. Right. I'm the 3OA, which kind of sounds like the highway over off in Destin. Yeah. But once it starts raining, the day pretty much ends for us because we can't go in any of the indoor facilities. So today was a little bit short-lived, but the defense did look good today. It looked really good yesterday during the entire practice sessions I got to watch. And Bruce Arians even specifically mentioned, somebody asked him yesterday, who has stood out on defense, and he literally.
I'm glad that you are pointing this out because I just wanted to play this video just really quick.
No, go for it.
Well, it's more like who hasn't. Everybody in the starting group looks more than ready to play. That second field has been executing better than the first field. So we should be building depth, getting all those reps. This would be the last day. We'll do 2 fields. So they got a ton of reps and got some exposure. And I was really pleased with where they were.
I'm guessing that was probably the comment that you were.
Yeah, exactly.
Did I hit the nail right on the head?
Yeah.
Look at that.
A total mind reader for sure. And and that's got to be awesome. There is one thing though that I kind of took away from that comment, and this has nothing to do with how this guy has played, but Joe Tryon's on that first field. That's the only thing. But the good news is that Joe Tryon is out there every time the twos are out there. So when you take a guy, and I've said this a couple times this week, when you take a guy who hasn't played since 2019,
right,
who had off-season knee surgery this year, he could be a couple steps behind. The Bucs could be easing him in. There are a lot of factors that could go in there to where he might get sprinkled in every now and then with the twos. But the fact that he's out there every snap with the twos, yesterday he was out there with the ones during the 2-minute drill. And then today when JPP was having a rest day, he was out there with the ones. He looks good, man. And that's exactly what this team needs this year. They need that beef in the pass rush. They need him to come through and make some plays. I'm not talking like 10, 11 sacks. I'm talking like 4.5, 5.
That's all right. But just contribute.
Right, exactly. And just show that you're on the right path. And right now in camp, he is doing that. And the Bucs are, they're playing him, and that's awesome.
That's right.
No, it's a phenomenal thing, and it gets you excited to see that the rookies are stepping up in training camp and trying to earn a starting position. Because yes, we brought all 22 starters back, but Bruce Arians is a smart guy. If he sees a rookie putting in the work and going above and beyond, he might end up on that starting roster no matter what. He's all about bringing out the best of his players, and if the rookie's stepping up, he's going to get a shot. So Evan, you talked about Kyle Trask and how you wish that he would get more reps in practice. Now, do you really think that this could be let's say Tom Brady, after this season decides to go into retirement either this season or after next season, do you see Kyle Trask stepping up and being ready to take over a position as QB1 for the Bucs?
Right now, no. I mean, he hasn't had the best training camp. And when I say I'd like to see him, get more reps, I'd like to see him earn more reps, saying that his progression is taking off. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Bucs handle this going into the season, because obviously he's a lock to make the roster no matter how bad his camp is. He's let me take a little bit of a step back. Unless he's like a Ryan Leaf or something like that. Unless he just absolutely bombs. You know what I'm talking about? Unless he just I still remember the story of Ryan Leaf coming into camp like 15 pounds overweight the year he was drafted, and I can't remember the publication that I read it off of, but like the coaches at the time, like 2 days into camp, were just like, "Oh God, we screwed up." But unless he just absolutely bombs, gets into some kind of terrible off-field trouble, he's a lock to make this roster, because you can't stash a second-round pick on the practice squad. Somebody's going to snatch him up immediately.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't take that step this year during camp, will the Bucs carry 4 quarterbacks? That's going to be interesting, especially with what they've got going on at safety, with all the injuries, the COVID stuff, and then obviously you've got the kick returner, you've got inside linebacker that's thin at bodies. So it's going to be interesting to see if they carry 4 quarterbacks into the roster or into the regular season, or if they just place Ryan Griffin on the practice squad where he's kind of always been. But yeah, if he doesn't take that step over the next couple of weeks, it could be a little bit costly to Tampa Bay in terms of roster management.
Speaking of that, since you said about the COVID thing, we got to hope that they don't shut football season down as well, because they talking about players are retiring because they saying that they're not going to be rescheduling no games or nothing like that, like they did last time. So we got to really hope and pray on that, because we ain't trying to have nothing interrupt our season. We don't need nobody over there trying to hate on us. So they trying to.
And if I'm not mistaken, don't we have somebody on COVID protocol right now? Isn't safety Jordan Whitehead been placed on the COVID reserve list?
Right. Yeah. And, the paycheck thing is, I'm going to say this. I'm pro-choice, obviously. It's your body. Everybody do what you want to do.
Right.
I'm also pro-vax. I believe people should be getting the vaccine. But, at the same time, this whole paycheck thing that the NFL's got going on. So, like, let's say, Ruth, your team and my team was playing one week. Your team's 100% completely vaxxed. I have just a couple guys, but those couple guys who are unvaxxed, cause a breakout, then your team, and we can't reschedule the game, your team gets fined their paycheck as well, even if they are 100% vaxxed. And to me, man, when you start messing with people's money, that completely changes the dynamic. Yeah. I get the NFL's trying to protect their bottom line, and the irony with the players, making threats over the paycheck thing is that the NFL protecting its bottom line ensures that they get paid next year, the players. Right. It ensures there's not another salary cap drop. It ensures that there's more money to be had. Yes. But at the same time, it's such a crazy dynamic. And when the NFL first started coming out with its rules talking about unvaccinated players a few months ago, or a couple months ago maybe, I tweeted out, I was like, the NFL might have a bigger COVID issue this year in terms of just politics than last year. And so far, it's creating quite a stir.
That's right.
So do you think that could be just because I guess the things are opening back up again and we're going to be having stadium full of people where COVID could be an issue going into the season?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely, especially with this Delta variant going around, and then I only saw the quick little snippet of it. I didn't go into research, so I'm not trying to put anything out there that's unknown or skeptical or anything like that. But I briefly saw a clip earlier today where they were talking about how all the different just transmissions of different viruses and forms of the COVID, especially with the Delta variant, could create some kind of super mutant COVID thing to where all vaccinations are completely susceptible. It's just crazy. So, I mean, it doesn't look like this is going away for anytime soon.
Well, and we kind of had that expectation. I mean, going into the start of this in 2020, we didn't think this was just going to go away. And even after the vaccination surfaced and more people were getting vaccinated, we were still getting told to recommended to wear face mask and to, social distance and stuff. So we still have a long way to go, before things can be, I guess, resolved. But Evan, I wanted to get your take on the Tom Brady video that we talked about just a moment ago, the one that went viral.
That's real.
With him the throwing machine. I'm pretty sure you got a chance to see that.
That's real.
I mean, for sure. It hit 10 million views in 8 hours. It was incredible. He's the GOAT of NFL, and he's the GOAT at putting out material that gets 10 million views in 8 hours. But when you first saw it, what was your impression? Did you think it was legit? Did you think it was, this guy is messing with us? Or how did you take that? How did you react?
I'm not going to lie. So I was sitting in Panera after Bucs training camp with Bailey Adams from Buck Nation, and I saw the video and I looked at him and I said, "You think this is real?"
Watching
the first 4 or 5 times, I mean, the CGI was so good. Honestly, and I get it. It's part of the dramatic flair. It's part of the effect. But if they didn't make it where the machine fell over and then shot the ball up, I would have thought it was real. So, I mean... Yeah, I mean, whenever I was watching that, but then I was just like, then the breakdown came out, the guy who made the video, talked about it and all that stuff. But that was an awesome idea. Just whoever came up with the idea, and I don't know if the guy who did the CGI came up with the idea or not, but that was genius. It reminded me, do y'all remember the old fantasy football videos they would do on NFL?
On NFL Network.
Yeah, where they'd be like, they'd do the crazy trick shot or whatever, and they'd be like, that's why you need. That's what it reminded me of so much, man. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely took me a moment to really be. I questioned it a few times. I had to watch it a few times, and even after watching it 4 or 5 times, I was like, you know what? It's Brady. I'm not putting it past him. Honestly,
right.
I'm not gonna hate on him. Like, there's no putting nothing past this guy. So it could be real. If it's not, I mean, it was still a great idea.
Oh yeah, it was totally cool. And the reason it probably got 10 million views that quickly, I mean, I watched it 15 times when I first saw it. Everybody's probably just rewinding,
1,000 times himself.
Right. I'm telling you, I've watched it multiple times. It's real. The man got 7 rings. I believe he can fly.
Right. As I said, can't put anything past Tom Brady. Well, what are some expectations going into week 1 for the Bucs? Do you think it's going to be maybe a New Orleans Saints situation where the Bucs are having a hard time getting it together defensively, or do you think the defense is going to come out red hot and Dallas is going to have a really hard time?
Yeah, I mean, just based off of what we've seen so far, the defense is going to be ready. Devin White's interview today, or his post-practice interview, was really, really good. I mean, they're dialed in. There is no complacency surrounding this team right now. Now, if it all depends. Is it going to translate onto the field? We don't know yet, because this team is in a spot it's never been in before. You know, Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady, they've been here before, but this team is not here, or it hasn't been here before. So we still need to see if they can actually do it. But based off of what we've seen, based off of what we've heard, I wouldn't expect any kind of drop off, and I would expect Dallas to have a hard time.
This is just like I was gonna say earlier. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I told you Dak gonna play. I didn't tell you the other side of that coin if he plays. Now, if he plays week 1, and like my man Evan here said, if the defense actually show up, if they don't be out there playing around, trying to just live off the dream, if they show up, Dak is not playing no more the rest of the season because he's going to be hurt for real. And Jerry Jones is going to get real mad. Might as well get him a backup ready, because I'm telling you right now, if Joe gets back there, if Shaquille Barrett gets back there, it's over with. Jason Pierre-Paul, we are going to have a barbecue in the backfield over the quarterback.
Yeah, I felt like it was really unfortunate for, Dak to be having his comeback season and to be facing one of the toughest defenses the NFL has ever seen. Like, it's really unfortunate, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Evan, thank you so much for joining us on the Tom Gronkowski Show. Let our audience know where they can follow you on your social medias, because I know that you're going to be pouring out content with this football season coming up.
Yeah, at Evan I can't even get my own handle right. At Evan _winner, and then bucksreport.com. Yeah, be sure to check in there. We're gonna have just all kinds of coverage, different types of viewpoints on the season, and then film breakdown, stats analysis, all that good stuff. So can't wait to get the season started, and to think that we're 4 or 5 weeks away. It just, man, it gets me hyped. I cannot wait. That's how I feel.
Coach and I were like in sync with
Burns,
this.
Yeah. Smithers.
How many fantasy football leagues are you playing in this season?
So right now I'm already signed up for 3. I try to keep it at about 3, because it gets to the point where, unless you have the same roster in every league, it gets to the point eventually where you're starting to play players that you have on other teams. Yeah. So you're kind of like having to pick and choose which league you really want to win in. And at that point, it's still fun, but I'm still signed up for 3, but I'm going to try to keep it here. But I have no limit. I'm a fantasy horse. I have no limit.
You heard it here first.
Let me know how them defensive backs do.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's something I'll be keeping an eye on for sure, especially safeties.
Oh yes, yes.
So when is the next? Is there another practice that you are going to be attending this week?
I'll be there Friday and Saturday. So I've got
Friday
two
Saturday.
more. Yeah, tomorrow's the break. And one thing that's pretty big to watch on Friday will be if Chris Godwin practices or not, because he's sat out the last 2 practices. And one thing that puts extra onus on that is Mike Evans was a little shaken up towards the end of Tuesday's practice, and he was still out there today. So the fact that Chris Godwin didn't practice today makes you think that there's some kind of ailment going on. Bruce Arians has been tight-lipped about injuries and absences so far. He literally said on the first day, don't ask about them. So, people are naturally not going to ask. But if Godwin, after tomorrow's break on Thursday, if he does not practice Friday, then something's definitely up. So that's one thing to definitely keep an eye on.
All right. You've heard it here first. Thank you so much, Evan Winter, for joining us on the Tom Gronkowski Show. And guys, make sure to follow him, because Bucs Report has a lot coming up. We're going to be flooding you with content, and it's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. But thank you so much, Evan Winter. And give us a quick, how do you think their season is going to end up? Give me how many wins, how many losses?
So, for the ones that follow me, they know that I'm a fan of this team as well. I've been a fan since 95. But when I do my analysis, I try to stay as objective as possible. And I am completely objective when I say this. But it is so hard not to feel bulletproof going into the season. The only thing that's going to derail this team is injury. Now, granted, it is the NFL and injuries happen. But Tampa Bay's also been like the top 2 healthiest team over the last 2 years.
With a stacked roster.
Right, exactly. So, expectations this year are high. I'm thinking at least 12 wins. If I had to guess right now, I would say 13-4.
Ooh.
Especially with their schedule. I mean, they've got one of the easiest schedules in the league. So,
yeah. Pretty ironic that the Super Bowl champs would have the easiest schedule. But I had high expectations going into last season. I said 12-4 and everybody thought I was crazy, and I wasn't far off. And if Brady would have remembered that it was 4th down, then I'm telling you, they would have beat the Bears on that Monday Night Football game, and I would have been right with my prediction. And I also went on the air on a multiple podcast and a radio show saying that Tom Brady was going to take the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl and be the first team in NFL history to play in their backyard. And I was right. So you heard it here first. Thank you, Evan, for joining us. And you have a great night. And I will see you for breakfast tomorrow morning, my friend.
Sounds good.
See you later.
Wait. Thanks for having me. Take it easy, y'all.
Bye.
Are y'all going to have waffles?
Belgian waffles.
I love waffles. Even if I go
me and Evan are probably going to be working side by side with a lot of Bucs Report stuff. They were trying to get me into training camp this week so I could do live stuff with Evan, but the whole vaccination thing is still so I got to get vaccinated before I can be at practices and in the facility.
Speaking of that, I just want to say out to the fans, don't worry about it, because BioLife Plasma Center, that's what we doing. We making vaccinations for it. So everybody just calm down. The coach is still on the scene, okay? Keeps it clean when the coach.
Do you know the name of the vaccine that your company is going to be producing?
I don't know the name of it. I just know that we play a major part, and we've been playing a major part since this has came out. And that was before
so you guys have right now been involved in that. Okay.
Since day one.
I've been trying to do my research and figure out which one's the most, has the less reactions, the most or the least people coming back, with problems. So I've been trying to do my research because I wasn't thinking about getting vaccinated until they told me hey, you can't come in here stadium without being vaccinated. And I was like,
what?
You're right. I don't even know why I thought it would be anything other. But yeah.
So don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. Coach keeps it clean.
Coach Jay Morgan is on the scene.
We on the scene. Don't worry.
Right. Coach Jay, do you have any final thoughts for our audience before we call it a night? Because unfortunately, I have a 3-page essay to write tonight.
That's so tight. I'm thinking about. I gotta go back and do something online for a degree. Especially with this company, they reimburse you as well for it. The big boss said he got 2 masters from this company.
That's always a good plus when your company is willing to put you through school. That's always, because I'm telling you, you don't want the school debt. It's not.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't want the school
reimburse it. So I'm like, I'm gonna go on there, and I really like history, but I did communications and journalism when I was at Cincinnati, so it's a toss up. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna figure out something so me and my little girl be straight. Me and my little girl.
That's all that matters. And I'm on the moves to buy my mom a house with the garden that she wants. So that's my motivation right there. Thank you everyone for joining us on the Tom Gronkowski Show 2.0. We are close to the season, everyone. So stay tuned and make sure that you are locked in with Coach Jay and I, because we will be giving you more content with every week coming. Appreciate Evan Winter from Bucs Report joining us here, and Bucs Report and Sports Talk Florida is partnering, and those are the 2 companies that I've been working with. So super excited for what's to come. Big moves happening. Radio, television, it's coming all. I'm excited. Coach Jay, thanks for joining me tonight, and everyone have a great night.
Pharmaceutical company Prevacus says their new concussion medication Prevacol helps repair nerves and promote cell growth.
We can get the drug in the brain in less than 5 minutes. And our plan is, when we get that diagnosis on the field of play, give the drug nasally, get it in the brain quickly. When it gets in the brain, it actually gets into the nucleus of your brain cells, and it reduces swelling, inflammation, and oxidative stress at the same time.
When Jake and I first talked about this many years ago, one of my first questions was, will this help me? And he goes, no, this is for treatment immediately when a concussion or you think a concussion has occurred.
Yeah.
The acute problems that exist later on in life, if we can take care of these at an early age and start getting some of these things to our children and grandchildren, you know, and I think we can make this game, our game, football, a safer place.
And so the whole goal is we're trying to make the game safer. And so Odyssey and this drug, we believe, can be a game changer in so many different ways. Yes, on the football field, in the game of football, because that's where my passion lies, but also in the game of life.